On a nice note, I actually booked another 2 appointments with homeowners for Thursday. So I actually have 3 appointments this week alone, with homeowners. There's a little bit of me that feels like that term where I go, "Oh, it's kind of a long shot." May have been putting people off, so I'm gonna try and cut that out of and because when you start making so many calls so many times, sometimes your pitch evolves and you don't know exactly what it is you're doing. But if then all of a sudden you realize you're not getting leads, it has to be something, whether it's your energy, your tone, the pace in which you're asking the questions. So it's always something. So I'm going to cut that out. I think maybe that was kind of killing it for me last week, even though I did get a lead Sunday and a lead, I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. I will say there are some other agents I work with, they get about a lead every 15 contacts, and then in some cases, a lead every 20 to give you perspective. If you are not getting leads, like maybe you're having, I don't know, 40, 50 conversations, if you're going to like go all crazy, which I wouldn't recommend, and you're just not getting any leads, it's probably your tonality and energy that's coming across and they can pick up on it. So for Nancy, doing 1 out of 9, that's terrific. And I'd be curious if you can kind of keep track of it on a daily and then on a weekly and then on a monthly. MOJO can do that. You do have it's included for free. It's the prospecting dashboard. If you can't find it, call MOJO. They'll help you point it out. But it's a little button on the top when you log in, and you'll see your numbers on there. He said, if you actually go to the appointment, assuming you're not going to get it, you're detached, it really will affect the way you speak to them. Like your tonality, your energy. You don't want to come across as eager and excited because that might get them nervous. So you just want to ask questions, get to know them, get to know their motivation, their reasoning. Just ask questions in general. And if you don't get the listing, don't be bummed. Just look at it as an experience and then just think, okay, the more appointments I go on, the more I'm going to get. So be super happy and proud of yourself that you're going to that listing appointment, but just don't be hard on yourself if it doesn't go the way you anticipated. How did you know that person was a realtor? Did it say? No, I know from experience. Once you are in the business and you're doing showings and you have listings and people are coming and just driving by people's signs, you know who the heavy hitters are in your neighborhood. So I've been doing this for over 4.5 years. It'll almost be 5 years, but 4.5 years. And I know who the big players are, especially the full-timers. So that's just how I knew she was a realtor. And plus I've just run into her and gone to our open house and stuff. That's helpful. Thank you, Blake. I'd be lying if I wasn't nervous. Yes. And I would say arrive early. Just like maybe 5-10 minutes early. Could also, like, the morning of, just confirm the appointment, Sergio, and just say, hey, I don't like to ask about the appointment. I just like to say, hey, good morning. I'll see you at 5:30. Best, Adela. I just assume. I don't go like, hey, are we still on? Because then it's just like a little more weak, in my opinion. I just don't ask. Yeah, just confirm. Just say, hey, this is Sergio. I will see you at 3:00. Looking forward to it, or best, or see you soon kind of thing. Just earlier today during my follow-ups, I scheduled 2 more appointments. They are both set for Thursday back to back. Just to give you a little bit of insight. So our appointments, they're not, or at least like when you say our appointments, it's just more in terms of like when we meet someone. When you say appointment, it's not necessarily to go there and actually like get them to sign the paperwork. I would probably say I meet with homeowners a couple times or talk to them obviously over a period of time before they end up listing. But what I want to do is get in front of them as soon as possible. I don't race over like after 2 weeks of talking to them, but after like 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, maybe even a year, after I've like, they know me, they like me, they trust me, I will ask them, hey, I'm going to be in the area. Is it okay if I stop by just to say hello? And both of them are excited. And they said, yeah, absolutely. Come on over. So Thursday afternoon, I'm going to go ahead and meet with both of them. One of them I've been following up with since, and this is crazy, a year and a half. I made contact with him December of 2023. And the other one, I made contact with them July of last year, and they were actually out of the country because they were meant to be, I think, retiring, or like they just retired and they just went on this like massive vacation. So they told me 2 months ago, hey, we're going to be back in April when we're, oh well. They had actually reached out to me and said, hey, when we're back in 2 months, we actually want to talk to you about listing. So now that I knew, because I had them in my follow-up, it said to reach out to them. So that's when I said like, hey, I'm going to be in your area Thursday. Can I come by? I'd like to meet you and say hello. And she responded immediately. She goes, yes, we're very excited. We can't wait to meet you. I've never met them. So those are my 2 appointments set for Thursday. And I kind of like to consider those more like preview appointments. It's not very heavy in terms of like, okay, let's get your house on the market and the photographer here tomorrow. It's just more of like continuing to nurture and me be the only one. So the day they wake up and they're like, okay, let's call Adela. That's why I get more people who reach out directly to me going like, hey, Adela, can you come over? We're ready to list. So I do a lot of the upfront work before I actually take the listing, which is actually why I love circle prospecting, because I just get those people calling me. That's 4 contacts in 20 minutes. I like that. That could possibly end up being 16 in an hour, but we shall see. We shall see. Everyone is so nice. I would rather have these conversations that get yelled out by FSBOs or canceled or expired. But I don't really get yelled at by them anymore. Now, if you notice, she did say not right now. And so that's why I kind of switched and referred to, the only condos that are selling right now are the ones who have like their budget, financials, reserves, just to kind of sprinkle a little bit of my professionalism and experience. And that's also why I just paused, because sometimes when you just drag on the conversation a little bit longer and pique her curiosity, if she was really a lead or wanted to know more, she could have asked me, like the lead from Sunday when she kind of was like, well, let me talk to you. And, she ended up being the lead. Then I know, okay, hooked her. She is possibly thinking about selling in 2 years if she was like curious, but you could see she was like over the conversation. So that's why I just let her go. But these are things that you pick up from experience, especially when you end up having so many conversations on a daily basis. You'll start noticing things they say and how they say it. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're not getting enough leads. It's just about learning how to ask one more question or say something to get them engaged. So yesterday I had kind of mentioned like the best time to call. So I am starting to call, at least for new prospect leads, from 4 to 6. Not every day. I mean, I know my mentor pushes me to commit, and I'm sorry, I just can't. I'm a wife. I have kids. We have schedules. So tomorrow we have something going on where I can't prospect. So I'll have to prospect earlier tomorrow. So I'll let you guys know about that. But earlier today, I did do a lot more follow-ups, which led me to 2 preview appointments, for Thursday. And then I have another appointment Friday. And it's all from circle prospecting. So I had mentioned one of those appointments, I made contact with him December of 2023, and the other one, July of last year. So I'm just kind of going to go and break the ice and meet them in person and say hello, because once you can like nurture them and then within a few months then go over and say hello and meet them in person, it makes it a lot easier. So that way when they're ready, oh, my Mojo paused, hold on. That way that when they're ready, they already know like, oh, you're the realtor we're going to use. Oh, look, we have some more people popping in. Hey, Eddie, does that last call count as a conversation for you? Yeah, absolutely. If I know it's the homeowner and I get to ask them about selling, and maybe if they don't, but I know it's the actual homeowner, then yes, it's a conversation. Hello, Crazy in Colorado. Hey, girl. Hey, I'm doing my calls now while listening. All right. Woo woo. Anybody else want to jump on board? Pull out your, come on, get your laptop, pull up Mojo, start dialing with me, guys. Let's go. Ronan, hey, hello. Nice to have you again. Good to see you. Hey, Chanel, how are you? Now, you are my local South Florida girl. I know Rachel also is one. Good to see you. I know you're newer as well. Welcome, welcome. I'm just making some calls on Mojo. Yay! Absolutely. I'm happy to have all of you here actually. So nice. I'm trying to schedule them out more in the morning. Like I'll look at my schedule and like, okay, what do I got going on today? And then just kind of plan it. So at least I was able to put it ahead of time, but I am forcing myself to do a 90-day challenge. So I'm going to be here on every day. With my kids' schedule, my husband's schedule, clients, showings, like I have an inspection tomorrow morning. Everything just kind of changes. And I know my mentor is going to be like, Adela, you have to do it every single day, every single, same time. And I kind of roll my eyes a little. I'm like, I'm trying. So yes, thank you so much for coming on and saying hello. Let me know if you guys have questions. I am a pro at like going down rabbit holes and finding things and finding mentors. It's funny because, like, for example, I watch a lot of YouTube and I research and learn everything. Almost everything I know is from YouTube. And like I was watching Sean Cannell and he had a guest speak. Oh, he had his the guy Omar. This guy, he was just a guy on their channels, and then that was Myron Golden, and that's how I found him. And then I was searching about Myron Golden, and then so I kind of found my mentor that way, James. I was watching a bunch of other like realtor stuff, and then I saw an interview about him, and then I Googled him, and then I found him on Instagram, and he did not even have like contact information. So I had to send him a DM, and it took him like a few days to respond. So I hope that helps, Chanel. I mean, I just go down rabbit holes and I find a lot about a lot in general, and that's just how I found him. I noticed you don't bother trying to collect their emails. Is there a reason why you don't? Yeah, there's a lot to that. So I don't want to be collecting a bunch of emails, because once you start subscribing to whether it's MailChimp, Constant Contact, all these email providers, they start charging you per emails that you have. Like if you have 0 to 100, 100 to 250, 250 to 500. And I don't like that. I think that's very rude. Like I would rather have 10 emails and not be told. But I also just for now want to have my leads, my emails be actual leads. So I don't collect emails. Nigel said, hey, Adela, curious how often are you calling your leads after you get them up until they list? It depends how long they are planning on selling. And you know what? This is actually a really, really good question. Like, you guys are learning how to do the first call, right? Like how to have your first conversation to get to lead. But I can understand you're kind of wondering, like, what's my follow-up system? What's my follow-up process and how long? So I'm trying to outline like my system and process and hopefully get that to you guys, like a follow-up, like what it is I do. So it just kind of depends. If they're further out, like I'll spread out how many times I follow up with them, and I kind of like mix it up. It might be a handwritten note card, a text, an email, a phone call, a voicemail, email, adding them to my weekly emails. So it just depends how far out they are from actually listing, I guess. I love how you listen and build the relationship. Thank you. I text my leads, but no response. I'm kind of curious what you're referring to in terms of texting. If you're just talking about the initial text where you say, hey, here's my business card, save it in your phone. It was nice talking to you. They never really respond. Maybe like 20% of the time they'll say, cool, thank you. Those don't worry about if they don't respond. Usually they respond 80% of the time after you follow up with them from the handwritten note card. Hi, Adela, back on the dialer. I see. Yes, I am, David. I'm at it. Called for about 3 hours today. No real leads, but ton of voicemails. Not a lot of pickup callers. All right, no worries, no biggie. Wow, she's a talker. Yes, was curious. Is your caller ID set up with just your first name or your business name? It's set up with how MOJO wants you to whitelist it. I think it's like, I don't know if it's first initial last name and then they make you do like REA, but when you whitelist it, there's a whole instruction box of how to do it and like the different variations they're okay with accepting. So it's on there. I honestly don't even remember what I put because it was so long ago. But if you whitelist your phone number with MOJO, they tell you how they want it. So whatever it is that they have on there. And let me say, sometimes I've had people say something like, oh, your name popped up on my phone. Like, I must know you. And I'm like, what? I don't know what's service provider they have where the caller ID pops up, but people are more inclined to picking up if there's a name associated with it than no name associated with it. Will you give them a referral fee if they list with you? If you're referring to that realtor, no. It's funny because I've told them before, I'm like, listen, I can give you a referral fee unless I just do a lesser commission. And usually we just do a lesser commission because I'm like, it's just too much money being transacted. Because I'm like, I could do it for 2 or 3 and then give you money back, or just do it for 2.5. Or if it's like 2.5, I'm like, I could give you a referral unless you just want to do it for 2. And they're like, oh, we'll just do it for 2. Are you talking about the click to call? I know on MOJO, it's funny, you just triggered my memory. There used to be a feature like click to call. And I used to be so slow at it because I was so nervous to call a MOJO. And then once you actually have it just speed dial on the single line, it is so much better. But I recommend in the settings, have the beep go off. So if you notice when someone answers, it goes beep. Yes, with expired, it's really hard for them to open up 100%. Initial text. Yeah, lady, that's totally fine. They're not going to respond. Very rarely will they say thank you. So that's totally normal. You don't get yelled at because you're so smooth with what you say. Thank you. And I also think I come from a place of empathy because I listen to Gary Vee a lot. I listen to a lot of YouTubers a lot. But I know he always says, like, if somebody's upset, it's not because of you. It's generally something that they're going through. So don't be upset. If someone's upset the moment I call, especially from a circle prospect, I'm like, whoa, I'm out. Like, abort, launch out, escape, get me out of here. Because they're not mad at me. They're mad at something else in life in general. There are some motivated homeowners out there. Where am I? Makes sense. I would procrastinate like crazy and get anxious when I was using the click dial. Same. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot that was even a feature until you guys mentioned it. Yeah. I thought like I remember doing the click to dial or that click to start or whatever it's called. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be in control." But it really would shake me. But once you start just doing the dialer and it's just power dialing now, and they have a more mentality of like right now. So that's why I always switch it on them and just kind of say like, "Oh yeah, of course." No, it was just in reference to in the future. Like, are you thinking about it? Because everybody thinks about selling in the future. No one rolls out of bed wanting to sell today. So I asked him, oh, what did I say? Something about, oh, okay, you'll probably longer, like forever. And he goes, no. And then he said, next year. That is perfect for me. And then he just mentioned, I asked him if he had a realtor, and he goes, I haven't gotten that far. Terrific. I'm one of the first realtors in. So, yeah. And you know what? Let me say this. I know some other realtors may dig further, may go deeper with leads, but I just kind of want to know the surface level and more importantly, like, ease my way into like their mind and be like top of mind, I guess. So that's when I kind of start my follow-up process. So he's thinking about selling next year, doesn't have a realtor. He was open to me sending him my business card. I verified that his phone number is a cell phone. So I'm going to text him my contact information, mail him out my business card. And then because he's an older gentleman, he would definitely appreciate a handwritten note card, especially the way that I've shown you guys how I do it with the flower seeds and everything. And then I'm going to follow up with him if he got my handwritten note card, and then I'll start the nurturing process. So that's just how I do it. And if you don't mind, because that was a lead, and thank you guys, Sergio, woo woo, nice. Yes, Crazy in Colorado. That was awesome. And it's so funny. I was like, oh, there's two potential. And then the next call was a total lead. So this is how I do it. I'm going to put him in my phone. Robert. And I always kind of end it as well, like, I'm a total stranger. You don't know me. I'm calling you out of the blue. Send you my business card in the mail. They almost never say no to that. Like for them to be like, no, no, don't send anything in the mail. They like don't say that. So they're very appreciative. All right, cool. Phone number. And I'm kind of doing this right now because I'm busy immediately after I'm done with my session. So that's home. Oh, as I start to nurture them too, I start asking more questions to understand their motivation. And I could have asked the question of like, oh, well, if you were to sell, I mean, do you have a place to go? And they'll usually tell me. I didn't ask him. He was very kind. Like I said, I don't like to go too deep. I don't know. I don't think anyone wants to be interrogated by a stranger over the phone. That's just kind of how I see it. All right, cool. So he's in my phone. I'm going to send him my contact information. Share. Send to Robert. And then biz card. Card. No, biz. What am I doing? Why isn't it auto-populating? Did I do some? Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay. It's weird. Just needed time. Boop. Sent. Okay. So action plan, assign. sent out. Cool. And then my next step is to send him my handwritten note card. Okay, cool. Next fit. So 15 conversations and 1 lead. And that was an hour and 33 minutes of dialing. Today is a good day. You know, I think it was because I kept saying it's a long shot. So if you're saying that because you're getting that from me, just cut it out. I think that's what was killing it for me last week. And then also when if it's a realtor and I don't recognize their name, I'm like, yeah, but you don't really do business. Because if you do business and you're full time and you're doing transactions in your neighborhood, you do start to know who the realtors are in your neighborhood. And it's funny because I remember one time a realtor with a nasty attitude with me. And I gave it right back to him and he was in shock. And then when I looked him up, the last transaction he had ever done was 3 years ago, and he only ever did like 2 transactions. And I was like, God, what a terrible ego to like try and verbally tear me down over the phone. Like, dude, calm down. It's not that deep. I don't even know who you are. All right. Wow. I'm at 16 conversations for an hour and 37. It would be amazing if I can get 4 more in the next 20 minutes. So my goal is technically to be at 20 a day for new conversations. I don't like to keep track of follow-ups with my new conversations. I find that to be very confusing. If someone's being nasty, just hang up. Doesn't matter who they are, just hang up. You have to protect your energy. Yes. I know everybody keeps asking, what's the best time to call? What's the best time to call? What's the best time to call? I love the 10 to 12, the 2 to 4, or the 4 to 6 window. Those are just really good for me. And I'm at 18 conversations with 1 lead, and it's an hour and 42 minutes in. You're able to see that I got a lead, 20 conversations a lead, and it took me an hour and 45 minutes. And I was just doing this 2-line dialer.